An MLB analyst from The Athletic has revealed a bold prediction that the New York Yankees could end up making at the trade deadline. It's a major trade, and we have to talk about it. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Yankees Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video as we always do, because we have something to talk about today where it comes down to the trade deadline. As we all know, the Yankees are going to be buyers. That has not changed. That is not going to change. They are going to try to make this team as good as possible to make a World Series run if they can this season with that magic that they had at the beginning of the year. And that's going to take some extra moves to be made. And an MLB analyst from The Athletic has released a bold prediction for multiple MLB teams, including the Yankees. And I kind of see the vision on this one, so let's take a look at it. Now, he believes, Chris Kirshner, that the Yankees will trade Nestor Cortes at the trade deadline, mentioning that the Yankees made a similar move in 2022 when they traded Jordan Montgomery to the Cardinals for Harrison Bader. The thinking was that Montgomery was not going to be a part of the playoff rotation, and Brian Cashman wanted to shore up a critical spot defensively. Now, obviously, there was a lot of good that came with Harrison Bader. Jordan Montgomery did end up having a pretty good season with the Cardinals after all, and was good after that. He's done a lot since leaving the Yankees. He always showed that ability with the Yankees, too. Cortes comes with one more year left of team control, and he still has value. They could use a new starting infielder or a left fielder in exchange for Nestor Cortes. Now, obviously, since Nestor does have value, the Yankees can use that to try to get a middle infielder, specifically a second baseman. I know Gleyber Torres has been a little bit better in recent games over the last 10 days or so, but at the same time, he's actually hitting 3.303 over the last 10 games. So Gleyber's actually on a bit of a hot streak right now, which we love to see. But at this point, it's so hard to trust that Gleyber's going to keep that up to the point where you kind of just have to figure it's time to find a new middle infielder. Now, with Anthony Volpe there at shortstop, I'm fine with that. Especially because when you consider you have Oswald Peraza, who seems like more of a trade chip that you're going to dangle at this point because of George Lombard, who is obviously your top or one of your top prospects and a shortstop also. So I think when it comes down to it, the Yankees' biggest need is going to be a second baseman. Now, obviously, left field's a bit of a problem because Alex Verdugo can't hit a baseball. But at the end of the day, you always can wait it out and wait for the Martian Jason Dominguez to come up and take that left field spot, or take that center field spot and have Judge move to left field, or have Soto move to left field and Judge back to right field. You have some options there if you don't want to make a trade for that. I think the Yankees' biggest need is a second baseman. Now, it's also a third baseman because right now Oswaldo Cabrera, we all know the deal with him. It's just there's some things the man's very good at and other things he's not so good at. DJ LeMahieu at this point completely cooked. They're going to need more help in the infield, as we all know. I've talked about this a bunch as it is. But Nestor is someone who still has trade value. He's someone who can be used in a trade. Now, I love Nestor. I think we all kind of love Nestor just because his vibe, his energy. He's great. He's the man. But yeah, a healthy Yankees, you don't know if Nestor's really going to be pitching in the postseason. I feel like you have to go with that he's probably not. Obviously, you have Cole, and obviously Rodon has just had a great game, but he's been not great. And even at the beginning of the season, if you look at the metrics, it definitely showed that there was some luck on his side. Rodon's not been great or good at all season. But you have to imagine if he gets it going, they're going to use him in the playoffs, especially with the money that he's making. They're probably not just going to bench him. Yeah, they might anyway. He's been really bad. But there's also Stroman, who, again, mixed bag. And if Clark Schmidt can get back, you have to assume they're going to try to use him as much as possible because he was having a phenomenal season before he went down with the injury. You also have to see how Luis Gil finishes this season because at one point he looked like the Cy Young, but it seems like he was running out of gas, which is understandable, coming back from an injury and all. They have some options, and at some point it feels like Nestor might be better off getting traded for the Yankees to help out their infield and their offense in general. So you have to imagine that's something that we'll consider. And again, Nestor does have actual trade value. On the season, Nestor Cortes, obviously a terrible win-loss record, but at the same time, he's been a solid pitcher. He's pitching under a 4 ERA. It's been a bit all over the place. Walks, hits, innings pitched is what it is, but he's still a solid player. I think Nestor is definitely someone who could be in most MLB rotations, could be in some different playoff rotations. It feels like the way the Yankees are moving, he probably wouldn't be in theirs, which gives you so much more incentive to trade him rather than just sit him and have him wait around for no reason unless he has to come in as a random bullpen guy in either a blowout or just some weird scenario where they're running low on pitchers or need a lefty pitcher specifically for a batter or two. And it feels like that's just so not worth it if you could just get an actual middle infielder for him. And here's the thing. Nestor does like being on the Yankees. As he mentioned here, everyone talks down about the Yanks, but they want to be us. It's a privilege to wear the pinstripe. Every year we're in contention. I'm blessed to be able to compete for a playoff spot and always be contenders at the end. And Nestor's right. The Yankees have been above 500 since the 90s. They've never went under. Last year was one of the worst years they had, and they obviously barely did it, but they finished above 500 as they always do. So you have to imagine, like, okay, understandably, Nestor likes being on the Yankees. And is it great to trade a guy who likes being on the team? Not really. But I think most players like being on the Yankees. They just don't like the fact that they're losing games constantly. And that's up to Brian Cashman to decide, what do you think your playoff rotation is going to look like at the end of the year? Because if it does not involve Nestor, he's only got that 1 year left after this one before he hits free agency. You might as well move the guy now. What if he comes back next year and isn't playing well, and you're also like a different team? Like, all right, well, the Yankees didn't even pitch him in the playoffs, so why the hell would we give up anything for him? It makes sense to move him now. I think it's the most sensible move. It's why I kind of just agree with this take. I think the Yankees should risk it. Like, if Clark Schmidt comes back and is pitching well, and if Garrett Cole gets it under control, which I imagine he will, you have two great pitchers there. Maybe Luis Hill can get it back together. Maybe Carlos Rodon can remember who he is. And then you're in a fine spot. You don't need Nestor at all for the playoffs. You can kind of move on from him. You also have guys like Clayton Beater who can come up from AAA if you need an extra pitcher in the more near future, not talking about the playoffs. So you have some options there. It makes Nestor a little bit more expendable. And honestly, with the way that you look at this team, you know they need to make a move to get more offense, to get more infield help. And Brian Cashman has even spoke about the fact that the Yankees do need some more help. So let's take a look at that real quick. He said that we'll be open-minded to a lot of different things. We definitely have areas to improve upon. We're going to do our best. Thankfully, we got out of the gates really strong, so hopefully that cushion will allow us to work through this, hopefully sooner than later, because it's gone on long enough. Well, it absolutely has gone on long enough, Brian, so do something about it, man. Help! Help this team win. Do what you do. You had such a good-looking offseason bringing in Soto. The Verdugo thing hasn't worked. The Stroman thing's been a mixed bag, as, you know, Stroman usually is. Excuse me, I'm sick right now. But look, here's the deal. As I just mentioned, I'm sick. I had the weirdest fever dream last night where I was screaming at Brian Cashman. I guess this is what I do for making Yankees videos. I just think about Brian Cashman in my sleep. That man better make some sort of a trade, dude. Like, I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of watching a team that should be better not win because they don't have people to hit the ball and because you have no infielding. It's such a wreck. They need to do something. Brian, please fix this mess. Please solve this. But, guys, let me know what you think. Would you trade Nestor Cortes? Would you try to improve your infield and your offense by moving Nestor for someone like that or maybe a left fielder? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a phenomenal day, guys, and go Yankees.